Particular integral is of the format x power m y power n. Okay, x power m, like x square into y square. If the format is like that, you can go for it. Okay, so here you have to note some important points. Okay, so if it is of the format of x power m into y power n, what you have to do is 1 by f of d comma d dash into x power m y power n. You have to put it in the format of f of d comma d dash of power minus 1. It is of the format like 1 plus z to the power of minus 1. So it is like a binomial expansion. So for the whole question you will extend it like a binomial expansion and you will get the final answer. Okay, it would be little bit tricky to solve it, but once you mastered it, it will be easy to solve. Okay, the thing you have to note here is if m value is greater than n, for example the power of x is greater than the power of y, you have to put it in the format of d dash divided by d. Okay, if m is less than n, you have to put it in the format of d by d dash. Okay, so if m is less than, you have to put it as d by d dash. If m is greater than, you have to put it as d dash divided by d. Okay, and if there is a place like 1 by d, if there is a question like 1 by d, you have to integrate it with respect to x. If it is like 1 by d dash, integrate with respect to y. These are the things you have to note down because you will be using the questions. Okay, question d square minus 3d dash plus 2d dash the whole square. It will be easier, like you know how to solve the auxiliary equation, find the auxiliary equation, find the CF complementary function. Now we are moving into complementary function to particular integral. So for particular integral, write it as 1 by the question into x square y square. Here the both value m, x power and y power are both equal, so you can put it as d dash divided by d. Okay, so what you have to, for if it is equal, you can put it as d dash divided by d, and if it is greater than also, you can put it as d dash divided by d. Okay, no issues. Now what you have to do is 1 by so before that, before moving into that step, what you have to do is it should be of the format d dash divided by d, right? So divide the whole equation by d square so that d dash stays in the top. Okay, if you if it should be of the format d by d dash, you have to divide the whole thing by d dash. Okay, however you want, you could divide it. So divide the whole equation by d square or take d square commonly outside. If you take d square commonly outside, 1 plus d square 1 d square would be out. Okay, but 1 d will be there, right? So to put it simply, what you have to do is multiply and divide by d square for the both d square plus 3 d dash plus d dash square. Now what you have to do, the d should be in the below. Okay, if d should be in the below, multiply and divide the numerator the whole term by d square. Okay, so if you multiply and divide it, you will get 1 plus 3 d dash by d plus 2 d dash square d square into x square y square. So 1 by d dash d square stays like that, and it would be converted into inverse format. So 3 d dash divided by d plus 2 d dash square divided by d square, it will termed as z. Okay, I am taking that two terms as a single term z. So 1 plus z power minus 1. So you in binomial expansion, you will be expanded like 1 minus z plus z square minus z cube plus etc equal to plus etc. Okay, 1 minus 3 d dash divided by d plus 2 d dash square divided by d square plus 3 d dash divided by d, like 1 minus z plus z square minus etc to x square y square. If you could solve any one term, it would be easier. Okay, you couldn't go for all the terms like cube and 4 power 3 power 4 and all. You couldn't go. Just stop it with power 1 or power 2. Okay, it depends upon the length of the question. We can stop it by either power 1 like 1 minus z, or sometimes you can go for 1 minus z plus z square. Okay, depends upon the question. If there is only one particular integral, go for square. If there is two particular integrals, just go for that square alone, it would be enough. Okay, z alone, it would be enough. Okay, now I am multiplying the minus in the inside, and for a plus b the whole square, the third term is of the format a plus b the whole square. I'll be expanding it like a square plus b square plus 2ab. Then I'm solving this equation, then simplifying it, I'll get 1 minus 3 d dash divided by d plus 7 d dash square divided by d square into x square y square. Now multiplying x square y square inside, so after multiplying x square y square inside, what I am doing is I am multiplying, I am differentiating it first. Okay, so for d dash alone I am differentiating it. So x square y square minus 3 by d dash means differentiate with respect to y. So x square y square differentiate with respect to y. D dash square means 2 times you have to differentiate with respect to y. So I'll get this answer. Now I am multiplying d square inside. So first term you have to differentiate twice. Second term integrate it twice. Okay, you have to integrate it. Don't forget that is 1 by d square. 1 by d square means you have to integrate it. So first, but you can ask me for d dash alone you have differentiated, because that is of the format d dash. It is not 1 by d dash. Okay, if it is 1 by d dash you have to integrate it. If it is just d dash alone you have to differentiate it. Okay, so first term you have to differentiate, integrate twice. Third term, second term you have to integrate it thrice, and for third term you have to integrate it 4 times, and you will get this final answer. So this is the complete solution. Likewise, find the auxiliary equation. You have get the complementary function x of y power 4, where n is greater than m. Okay, so m is less than n. So if m is less than, d should be at the top. Okay, if m is less, d should be at the top. So what I am doing here, you could easily see I have divided the whole equation with d dash square. That's why, that's it. You don't have to put any, like, I have to make it as 1. The d dash term should be 1. So what I have did is I divided the whole equation with 5 d dash square. If there is 10 d dash square, I will divide it by 10 d dash square. If there is simply d dash square, I will divide it by d dash square. Depends upon the question, I am dividing it. Okay, then I will form the z term. Then I will go for z square. Then I'll solve this z square term. Then I'll multiply with x y power 4. I'll differentiate it. Then I'll integrate it and get the final answer, the complete solution. Okay. Now this question, the same auxiliary equation, you have to find it. Then cos 2x plus y, which would be easier. You have to find the d square value, d dash value, and d dash square value. Substitute here and get the answer. For x, like both the terms are equal, so d dash should be on the top. So as usual, you have to solve it with d dash on the top, and you'll get this final answer. Here I have given some question. Practice this question and get the final answer and verify.